the capital city of China is?
Shanghai.
Beijing.
Geography fail.
Beijing. Yeah. Of course. It's mine.
It's theirs.
It's ours.
It's your impression of Nanyang.
So, do you find the impression ready?
Impression of you.
What's your impression? Comment lah. Never comment.
Still finding. So welcome back to our new episode. And today we're going to talk about Nanyang music.
Nice.
Oh.
So what is Nanyang music?
Wait. But before that, right?
Okay.
You never see our set so pretty.
Of course.
Our
It's
pretty
very nice.
set, right?
All thanks to you.
No lah, not
We
me
have
lah.
a set designer. You see, we
Me
all
and Aditi.
No, I'm the set helper.
Oh, set helper. So I think this is something that you can look forward to. Every set will be different. We try to make it different. Do you notice what our first set theme is about? If you know, you can write down your answer on the comment box.
Yes.
Comment box. Yes, that's right.
Okay.
So today we're going to talk about music.
Yes.
And in particular, Nanyang music.
What is that?
That's for you to answer.
Okay,
Why?
so let me make a guess, right?
Okay,
considering that, like Nanyang arts, like you spoke the last time, was a mixture of traditional Chinese art comes and then, with Western influences and then the local scenery and all that they painted. So I'm assuming it's a mixture of what we have here, which is Chinese, Malay and Indian music, sort of like a amalgamation of it and something coming out of it. That would be my guess lah.
Good guess. What about you, Firdaus?
What is Nanyang music? I would think of Teochew opera, Chinese opera, all the kind of Chinese opera lah.
All
That
the
is
kinds of
Nanyang
Chinese opera. How many kinds of opera do you know?
Chinese opera.
Everything called Chinese
Everything
opera.
down as one.
Yes. Well, but of course we have a lot of dialects, right? And then of course opera is, because of the dialects, we have the Teochew, we have the Cantonese, we have the Hakka, we have Hokkien.
Is Hakka Hokkien?
No, Hakka is Hakka, Hokkien is Hokkien.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fujian is Hokkien.
Fujian is Hokkien.
Okay. I understand now.
So there is only a few dialects, but in China there are a lot of opera all around China. Different province, different village even, they have their own dialect, the way they speak, and then of course they have their own opera.
So, question. So the opera, do the stories change when you go from province to province, or is it the same story set in different dialects?
There could be changes of the story.
Okay.
But mostly it's like, for example, we talk about Butterfly Lover.
Yes.
This is a common story. And then everyone will sing and perform using their own dialects.
Right.
And also the instrumental is kind of different.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Are you familiar with Peking opera?
Sounds familiar. Or maybe Peking duck.
Yeah.
That's right.
Peking
duck. Peking duck is from where?
Peking ah.
Peking
Peking
lah.
The Peking
Peking, Hong Kong ah.
No lah.
No ah?
It's also the capital city of China is?
Shanghai.
Beijing.
Geography fail.
Beijing. Yeah. Of course, so that's why we call Beijing. We call it, people pronounce it Peking. Peking.
Oh, Peking is Beijing.
Yeah, it's Beijing.
Oh,
okay.
interesting. Okay.
I thought
Yes.
Peking is a kind of duck.
True. So the kind of duck, the way they roast,
Yeah.
crispy one.
Yes.
That is Peking duck, the style they make it. So when you go to Beijing, you eat Peking duck lah.
I see.
Fascinating. Nice.
You must find the halal Peking duck for me.
Halal Peking duck.
If not, you must roast for me.
I roast you lah. Yeah. So anyway, you talk about Peking opera is also the opera in Beijing. But actually, this opera is a very new opera during those times. So the capital city is in Beijing. So the emperor wanted a lot of to watch all kinds of shows. So he bring all the people from different province to the capital city and watch them perform.
Okay.
So all of them come to Beijing, right? So they bring their own art form. Some got this kind of makeup, some got this kind of instruments, and then they go to it's like a festival.
Nice.
Yeah, and then they perform for the emperor. But during those days, they don't have transportation all the way up north.
Right.
So it takes months.
To get to
To
one
get there.
from one place. Yeah.
Right. So when they are there, right, you cannot just perform for the festival, take the plane back, right? No such thing, right?
Got
so
played man last time?
so that's why no plane. No YouTube also. If not, the emperor might have been watching YouTube online.
Yeah, then no need to call anyone.
So this arts group and tour group, right? They were based there, and then they decided to mingle and mix with the people around them. And subsequently, they kind of like blend each other. So some of them, they know martial arts. They're going up north to perform martial arts. They are kind of singing, different kind of painting. The facial paintwork and things, and even the dress. So they infuse all these things, and subsequently these people, some of them become local. And then they get together, they became Peking Opera. So Peking Opera is now one of the most represented opera because of China and because of the capital. But the history is not that long in comparison to other opera.
Okay.
So just like you talk about opera, it came to my mind that we're talking about that. So when we talk about Nanyang music, so we are trying to use that term. In Singapore, is most like what I've just shared is like Peking, Beijing, where different people coming to Singapore.
So it's all the cultures come together.
Mixed together lah.
Yes.
So it became a new kind of music, like that?
Yeah,
You can say so.
Yeah, and it's fairly unique to our setup, right?
Only in Singapore.
But the problem is this. Do we really have Nanyang music? And do you know of any Nanyang music?
So far, no lah.
So far, no, right?
No lah. No. No.
No lah.
No, right? Do you know?
They don't know, that's why they watch us.
Well, I think this term is kind of new. And especially when we are in Singapore, we are talking about, we're trying to find Nanyang artwork, right?
Yeah.
This actually, recently, I shared an article, right?
Yes,
In our group
yes.
chat by this Mr. Low from the Singapore Chinese Cultural Center, the CEO. He is actually a art curator previously, and he has this research about. I think we can link this link in the comment section so that people can read this article about the Nanyang art. So he actually talks about is a periodical thing, it's during that period.
Yeah.
We talk about Nanyang art. But I guess this Nanyang music in Singapore, because Singapore is so young, we are only a 50-ish old country. And it's really like a young adult, but not to the extent where we really have a lot of rich culture and then forming our culture then. So then in this particular junction, I guess it's also our part to then think about what is Nanyang music to us. So this term, right, but the music term, one of the, how should I say,
The chi.
Taiji. The initiative. The initiative is by Singapore Chinese Orchestra. The music director Song Ye.
I see.
Yeah. He came out by doing a competition in 2006 where he created. It's called the Nanyang or the SCO competition, but in the theme of Nanyang music.
Oh, nice.
So they contextualize as Nanyang music competition like that lah.
Exactly.
It's a composition ah.
It's a composition. So what he wanted was to have composer writing for Chinese orchestra in the theme of Nanyang music. So this is something new.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they want the composer to write for music like this. And when I interviewed him for my research, then he talked about, why did he has this idea? Also because in the last episode, I talked about the Nanyang art form. We have Georgia Chen, we have Chen Wen-xi, and all these great artists. He went to see this painting, and then he was like, this is so interesting. What about music? Do we have something equivalent?
Yep.
So, and currently, yes, we do have. You also shared, we have drama series. We call then some drama is called 雾锁南洋, which is 雾锁南,
Yeah, watch. The one 90s.
90s, and then we write some theme song, then and then there are new composer writing for music like that. And we have a lot of folk music. Chan Mali Chan, Dayong Sampan. Last episode you also talk about Dayong Sampan. Right?
Yep.
So, these are folk songs. But what's next? So the initiative came from the competition. And in 2006, right, the first prize winner guess who is it? I think probably you are familiar with it.
Wang Chen Wei.
He is one of the youth or the young award recipient, the Singapore Young Award recipient. The first prize is an international competition. So the first prize winner was actually Eric Watson.
Wow.
Eric Watson. So Eric Watson wrote a piece called Tapestry, and it's called Time Dance. So he so he studied music and have been a teacher when we were back in school as well.
Yep.
And so then he started writing for Chinese orchestra, and he was awarded first prize.
Wow.
Very interesting.
Wow.
First movement is Durian. Second movement is Rambutan.
Oh, nice.
And the third movement is called the Tarab.
Tarap.
Tarap.
What
is
buah
that?
tarap.
What Tarab?
Buah tarap. Is what? Can someone help me? I heard of the name lah, buah tarap.
Yes.
It's a kind of fruit that you can eat lah.
Wow, thanks a lot.
So because this fruit is especially from Sabah also. That's why the composer had the idea, about these fruits, and then he wrote the piece.
Nice.
Very interesting.
Yes,
So
so
using the
fascinating.
elements in Southeast Asia around your region,
Yep.
and then you write music for it.
Wow. I can't imagine how the music for durian sounds like.
I know, right? All prickly and pokey and weird.
Yeah, and rambutan too,
Yeah.
Very for the
Hairy.
furry, hairy.
Wow, cool.
Yep. So, and then of course they did 3 year the competition 3 times actually. In 2011 and subsequently in 2015. That was the 3 times that we have.
Nice.
One of the piece is by Lau Wai Lun. He is one of the cultural medallion recipient in 2017. So he wrote the piece called Emerald of the Seven Sea. So there's this, do you know Zheng He?
No.
Yeah.
Zheng He.
Admiral Zheng He.
Admiral Zheng He.
Admiral.
Who is Admiral Zheng He?
Yes, please
Admiral
explain.
Zheng He is admiral
Wow.
from the China army.
From the China Army.
And he traveled the 7 seas.
Even I could have said that, okay?
See, the one that know how to answer press the button and answer. That's the point.
But there were a lot of interesting stories about him also lah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's in the 1400s during the Ming Dynasty, and he's actually a eunuch. He's a eunuch. I mean, during those times,
Wow.
if you want to serve
Yep.
for the
The
emperor,
emperor lah.
that is the prerequisite for guys lah. Unless you are in the army. But also, I mean, his position is kind of interesting because he is a eunuch, but he also leads the army, and the emperor has so much trust for him to lead a fleet of army, down south and all the way travel to make friends with people.
Wow.
He actually came by Singapore. The ship came, they have, I think, over 300 different ships that come straight down from south, and it's across a long time of period too. They go
Nice.
all the way to even South Africa, about 20 years.
Wow,
in
that's-
the 1400s-ish.
Nice. Wow.
So he passed by Singapore. So there's this place called the Dragon Tooth.
Yes.
It's
Gate.
called the
Dragon
Dragon
Tooth
Tooth Gate.
Ah, yeah, I've heard of that. I don't know where it is though.
It's at Mount Faber. The Sentosa, that river there.
Yeah.
River.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, Sentosa. This one is the Pasir Panjang. Golden Tooth.
Yes.
Okay.
Dragon Tooth, not
Dragon
Golden
Tooth.
Tooth.
Yes.
That one
But that one
is
is they replicate it. They make because it was destroyed already.
Right.
Then
So this
Singapore
is just
remake. I don't know. There's it. So he passed by, and then he in the script itself, it talks about the history, and then he saw this, and he said, it looks like the mouth of the dragon where the tooth is sticking out. Yeah, that's why we have that part. And then
what is it called in Chinese?
龙牙门.
龙牙门.
Long which is dragon, ya is the teeth, right, or the tooth, and then men is the gate.
I see.
Oh. Very interesting, huh?
龙牙门.
So we also one interesting thing about Zheng He, he's born in a Muslim family.
Yes.
Oh,
I heard
you know.
he's a Muslim also.
Yes, he's a Muslim.
Ah.
So in China, of course, we have many people, many different. They have a lot of different races as well. Different
Oh.
like
Ethnicities lah.
exactly. 56 in total actually.
Wow.
Different kinds. I mean, they
Lot,
according to their
The census lah.
So and we also talk about him traveling down south. Right, is something very interesting, and we actually know like who is the first person to explore the Great Ocean, Great Sea. We know about Christopher
Columbus.
Exactly, right? And so, but he conquered the place in 1492. That was the time.
Christopher Columbus.
Exactly. And Zheng He actually founded, the land and moving out to the sea about close to 100 years earlier than him.
Wow.
So
Anyway, Christopher Columbus got lost, right?
compass not working.
Okay.
Pass by Bermuda Triangle. Then they're like,
All the campus all rosak.
he never come Singapore lah. That's why lah.
Never lah. If he come Singapore, confirm name different already.
So coming down south, it's really the Nanyang. He travel down south, Nanyang, pass by, and make a lot of friends and trades and things like that. So the piece Luo Weilun, he composed the piece talking about the Admiral Zheng He.
And his travels, is
And
it?
his travel. So it's a
sweet.
two-movement thing where, he set off the drums beating and then he start to go down south. And the music itself, he also talk about like some bird seagull and then how he move and then even to the Middle East and then the Swana were playing.
Oh, that's
this
lovely.
very interesting scales, even the pipa playing, the different Arabic scales and things like that.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's
should go and
very,
listen after this,
yeah, you seriously must listen. This is very interesting.
If you got listened before, comment lah. You like it or not?
Yeah.
Well, then we talk about how is it successful, how do we actually bridge all these things together? This is the magic, the composer need to crack their mind.
Yes.
How do you bring those two things together? So I have in Cheng Wei, just now you talk about Cheng Wei. Cheng Wei is a genius. I think we should invite him.
Yeah.
on one of our episodes because he speaks like 18 languages,
Wow.
and then can play more than 20 over instruments.
Oh, wow.
Do you know Chen Wei?
No.
You never see him?
Never.
Very good.
He is the guy from the guy that descend from heaven.
Clearly.
So one of the talk and workshop organized by the Singapore Chinese Music Federation, we had a music festival. So they invited the group of young musicians, including myself, to talk about what are we doing in the current market, and also they're sharing about the pieces that Cheng Wei have composed. Then we all discuss about Nanyang music too, because it was then a trend by the Singapore Chinese Orchestra, and then we are then in the motion of finding this identity or trying to find this path route ourselves. So he talks about the how do you join. So one thing is we can. So he drew SG, S and the G. So Singapore, right? But you can put two distinctive things apart. You play Malay, you play Chan Mali Chan, then you play Mununu Valiba. Then okay, this one trying. This is you call successive fusion. You try to bring these two things together.
Yes.
Is there any pieces like that you have come across? Maybe you can share with us. Is there any Indian piece in particular that has got sometimes you link to playing some Chinese music or Malay music equivalent?
Maybe you can talk about Singapore music, right? Nanyang music, Singapore music. So you can listen to Bunga Sayang.
Okay.
So Bunga Sayang is a literal translation lah, lovely flower, something like or sayang flower. So the song has the dondang sayang elements inside the music, but it's being written in a way that it's a pop music style. But you can hear Malay elements, and how you can hear Chinese elements is because of the melody that they do. So you can hear like sounds like Chinese, but got dondang sayang. So if you do not know dondang sayang, maybe later I show you a bit lah dondang sayang. I can also call a friend to sing.
Oh, nice. Live performance.
Live performance.
Very
I like
nice.
to sabo people.
Clearly, very obvious. Yes, I like this.
Yep. So in particular, right? Let's break it down because since we are really talking about our Association, right?
Yeah.
The Impression of Nanyang Arts Association, and we have an upcoming performances at the Esplanade for Beautiful Sunday on the 12th
Yay.
of February. In itself, right, we have curated the performance based on what I'm going to share with you. So the first thing about talking about the successive fusion. So the piece that we try to bring it across is Lullaby.
Ah.
And the lullaby, I went to ask Dr. Ghana, I said, tell me, what are the lullaby that the different mother, from different culture will sing to the baby.
Yeah.
And he told me was Omana Tinga.
Yeah, Omana Tingal is sung in Kerala, which is the southern tip, one of the southern tips of India, which is where my family comes from. So that particular lullaby was composed for the king.
For the king's child.
For the king, because when he was born as the king already. The father had already passed away, so the mother was queen until the child
Grows up
was
of age.
Yeah, so when the minute he was born and it was a boy, it was the king already lah.
I
He was already a king before he was born. So this was a song that was composed for the child that was going to be the king or queen. And it has become so popular that everybody sings it to their kids.
I see.
And it's become like a common lullaby, but it was originally composed for the king, who happened to also be a really famous musician and a composer in Kerala. Yeah.
Which year was that?
Good question. 18th century at some
18th century.
Yeah, because the king, Swathi Tirunal was his name. He was alive only for a very short period. He died when he was like 35, 36.
Oh, that's young.
But in that few years that he was alive, he composed a whole lot of songs and made Trivandrum, which is one of the states in Kerala, a very important historical part of music, Indian music history, because he called a lot of people from all over India to come and settle and perform and make it. Even today, there's like a university there for music, and it's a very popular, very bustling place for
In his
classical
name?
music. In his name, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Make me want to listen. Why don't you sing a short
Of the thing.
Omana Tinga
Can.
for us?
Omana Tingal.
Mike, you want to?
Okay. Can I? Omana Tingal Kidavo Nalla Komala Tamara Puvo Puvil Niranya Madhuvo Pari Purnendu Tande Nilavo. If I sing more than this, you will all fall asleep.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Round of applause for her.
Clap.
But one thing I realized about lullaby, right? The tempo, the meter is always either in 3s or 5.
This one's
Seven.
Seven.
This one is
I
7.
mean, it will be odd lah.
Yeah.
It won't be the even meter one, right?
Is it?
Yeah. If you think about it.
Maybe is there any lullaby that you know that you can share with us?
Yeah.
Maybe just giving us the title
Yeah,
will
then
help
we
us
can-
a little bit more to understand in the music
Correct.
aspect, right?
Yeah, because the Malay lullaby, one of them, maybe this song called Buai Laju Laju, is also in 3. Buai Laju Laju.
Why it sounds like Burung Kakak Tua?
Right, it's
Yeah.
similar.
It's similar. It's not Burung Kakak Tua.
Burung Kakak Tua is the Indonesian version. I think Buai Laju Laju is maybe they changed the lyrics to suit for lullaby.
So it's the same melody,
Same melody.
Okay.
but the
Different words lah.
Words
But
different.
words different.
Lyrics
Lyrics
different.
different. Yeah.
Oh.
You can go listen also. Buai Laju Laju. Buai is the swing lah, swing.
Same.
So when the mother, last time our mother
yeah,
got
they'll-
that thing, right?
yeah.
So they'll sing lah, they push that thing or push that way. They sing lah. Like that.
Oh.
I never thought about the 3, 5, 7.
Yeah, because and then English one. Da-na-na, da-na-na, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. See, it's in 3s.
Yeah.
Ah,
That's
maybe
What
lah.
about Chinese one?
Chinese one? Is that a lullaby?
Yeah. So lullaby wise, I went to ask my friends, like lullaby, what do they sing? So some people sing 小白船.
小白船?
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
But this one actually is a Korean song.
Oh.
Korean folk song.
Oh,
Yeah, but it was so popular and Chinese actually changed the lyrics. But it was actually a Korean
folk song.
song.
Oh.
小白船. But the 世上只有妈妈好, I think just now the music that you sang, I think it was also very popular during our time.
Yes, yes.
Because of?
It was
Because
an
of
ad.
Enlin.
Yes, it was an ad on TV.
Enlin milk.
You know, my Malay friends was singing during class in secondary school. 世上只有 we were laughing like, yeah, it was so impactful, right?
It was,
Yeah.
it was.
The
it truly
lyrics
was.
itself is actually talking about in the world, your mom is the best, who knows you the best, who love you,
Yeah.
so much. So that is we sing lullaby. So when in this current concert, we're going to invite a singer to sing Omana Tinggal, and inside was actually we're going to plant in all this music. 世上只有妈妈好 and the Malay. So what's the song again?
Buai laju-laju or burung kakak tua?
Yeah, burung kakak. I mean, to my context, burung kakak tua. Yeah, but
Okay. So now I get your idea. It's actually supposed to be buai laju-laju.
yeah, burung laju. And of course, just now the dun, dun, dun,
Oh, yeah.
also inside.
Inside.
So
Mana
in that
Tinggal.
music itself, right, where I've asked Su Win, the Singaporean composer, to rearrange this piece and then start to fit in all these elements into it. Yeah, so it's something that I'm trying to do, the successive fusion. It's very distinctively, but at the same time, we try to play together. The other part of what we can do is called the contrapunter, you counterpoint. You try to blend these two things together. So that what Cheng Wei read was a S, and then the G is like not touching but inside part of it. So there's a counterpart.
So it all becomes one lah.
Exactly. So maybe Omana Tinggal could also be placed as this part as well. Where maybe when we play distinctively, just now we talk Malay and then Chinese, distinctly Chan Mali Chan, then suddenly become but on one platform in one piece. That could be like a medley lah. But when you bring these two things successfully, it could be
They create a new
genre. Well, in the concert itself, actually we also have the Rose Rose I Love You. And our singer Ying Ying will be singing Rose Rose I Love You in 4 different languages.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool.
Oh.
English, Mandarin, Malay, Tamil.
Wow.
So same melody, right? Rose Rose I Love You, but in 4 different languages.
Wow.
It's very fun. Fun to sing.
I think what we really want to do, right?
Fun to sing, you sure or not?
Yeah, it's fun to sing.
Because you're not singing.
Okay, fun to listen lah.
So the third kind, or what the ones that we are really looking for, is the Nanyang music, right?
Yeah.
Which where it really joins everything together. One great example of what is Nanyang. Just now we talked about Nanyang arts in the last episode, but what is really Singapore, right? One thing is Singlish.
Yes.
When we speak Singlish, we add in a lot of different
Languages.
different languages,
yes.
even the structure, of how we speak. For example, Cheng Wei give an example, right? Like some Singlish, we talk about how can like that, how can like that lah,
Yeah.
So this how can like that, is more like in Chinese we that's how we speak, 怎么可以这样? That's his example. But we direct translate.
Yeah.
怎么可以 how can like that?
that.
How can you like that? Or why you like that?
True.
So Singlish is really joining different language,
Yep.
And that's part of who we are today.
Yeah. And that's truly like a Nanyang language, isn't it? Like it's very, very truly Singaporean.
Yeah.
Everyone, I mean, other people will try, but they will fail miserably.
You
at
must
it.
be in Singapore for a few years, then you understand.
Few
the
years, actually a
usage.
long time.
Oh, recently there's a different TikToker
Huh.
from different parts of the world. They come to Singapore and
They
then,
tried to.
Yeah,
Tried to do
I've seen
Singlish.
some Korean guy who speaks super fluent
Oh, really?
Singlish. And recently there was this
Got one Ang Mo boy
Oh,
also.
one Ang Mo lady also working in Singapore, and very
They're trying
fluent.
their best
Look,
to be Singaporean.
super fluent actually.
Oh, wow,
That
okay.
she tried to use Singlish and then to order the ice cream
Oh.
postcard in Singapore. Quite, you can find out,
Oh, very
like
cool.
different people who really embrace Singapore and
Yeah.
especially the language as well. So, I have a huge passion for that. That was what my research was all about. And I'm with that in mind, even when I interviewed Song Ye, then my avenue was, flute. What can I do for flute? And because I learned from Ghana, sir, right? And in the Chinese flute, I want to infuse Indian gamakas, Indian improvisational.
Yeah.
How they improvise, the different alap, the raga, how they do it. And so, in the very layman term, when I always share with my friends, I want to use the Chinese flute to speak Singlish.
Yeah.
And so I think this is also a work in progress for all of us. And
Absolutely.
hopefully there will be more works in the Malay culture as well.
Yep.
Or of course in the
In
Indian
the Indian
music as
culture,
well.
yes, definitely.
So we talk about in music, is there any successful ones, or not really successful, the things that have been done by composers? So Cheng Wei also wrote pieces like that. In particular, we will be doing this piece called Aksara. So Aksara is he wrote for the Chinese wind percussion group. And within itself, right, this is Chinese music, but he uses the Indian thala and even Sanskrit. So they will be chanting the Sanskrit
Oh, very
while
nice.
playing. So that is something that he tries to infuse. And for Chinese flute-wise, I have actually asked Eric Watson to write. And he wrote a piece called The Vermilion Phoenix, so on the solo flute. And he uses the concept of the Indian raga. So he created his own raga. And then when we talk about phoenix, it's very Chinese, like vermilion phoenix, even the color, or how it's so I use very lot of Chinese flute techniques, like traditional Chinese technique, but playing the raga. But there was also the meter, the change in meter, like how the Indians will do the rhythmic cycle as well. So there are composers that we are working towards this direction, and this is something exciting, as time goes by, maybe in the next SG 100 years, when we look back, when our grandchildren look back.
Yeah.
Will you be there, SG 100?
Yeah,
I don't
this
think
is
so
for us to, see whether it resonates with us.
Yeah.
Or not.
I don't know. I think it's very interesting, but it's always a bit of a concern, Lau, when you try to fuse two completely different traditions. It's this very fine line between making it look very what is the word for it? Not very nice and a bit like
Cliche.
yes, that's the one.
Or very like for the sake of doing.
Correct. And doing it really well, because when you do it really well, it's all about respecting each tradition and keeping it as a whole, and yet trying to bring it together with something else. And it's very hard to do. It's very easy to
I think it's still a work in progress.
It is, truly is.
Yeah, and whether we reach that pinnacle point,
Yeah.
I think we just need to wait lah.
we
Maybe
need to
like-
wait
yeah
and
lah,
see.
SG
And like
100
you
lah.
said, I think as the years go by and the coming generations of musicians would probably do a better job than
True, perhaps.
the rest of us. Because I guess for them, like you said, as the country grows and the culture grows, your exposure to everything also becomes a lot better, and the culture itself sort of solidifies, right? Because as of now, it's still very much yours and then mine and then you're separate, and then we just come together and do like a little bit here, a little bit there, you know what I mean? So I guess as it goes by, it all becomes eventually one big nice little mold lah.
And exactly why we have this platform. We created this platform to understand each other.
Yes, absolutely.
And of course, we live our own, each our lives,
Yep.
because of our own culture, our own background. But what is it in Singapore? Although we have the different festival, Chinese New Year. The last episode we talked
Yes.
about that. But what is Chinese New Year to you? I asked my friend. Sharanya. So I say, what is Chinese New Year to you? He said, that time is the best time to study because exam soon. Singapore got 2-day holiday. So, but also talking about music itself, when we were in school, we are being forced, or to learn Chan Mali Chan, Munino Valiba, or even some Chinese songs, right?
Yeah.
But I guess this is also the first step really trying to learn
Yeah.
each other's culture. And then I'm fortunate to learn from Ghana, sir. You know, I learned Indian music. I really try to understand about the different Carnatic style or subsequently the Hindustani style. Then I infuse into my playing. So maybe when I play the Indian flute, the Indian Carnatic way, it may sound like I'm trying to talk Singlish like how the foreigner does. But I guess it is also the first step of
Yes, it is
doing
the
it,
first step,
trying
yes.
it, you know,
Correct.
adapting it, and subsequently it becomes your own
Correct.
part of your own identity.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like perfect, right? Because you are infusing it into your style of playing. So you already have a style and then you're mixing something else. You're taking influences from what you like and then you're making it your own
Yeah.
again, right?
Correct.
Which is more important than anything else.
So, talking about, just now we talked about successful model is language. And actually a super successful one is actually our stomach. Really? Why? Because, right, I have Chinese friends who come from China. They come to Singapore. They couldn't adapt to our food. They can only eat Chinese food. Yeah, and they get stomach upset after eating the food that they are not comfortable with.
I see.
Right.
Like me going to China cannot eat porridge.
Yeah, possible. You know, so our stomach is actually super Singaporean, you know.
Yeah.
We eat roti prata, you know, we eat mee goreng, you know, we eat all kinds of food.
Yeah.
And we can adapt to all these spiciness, different spices, you know. So, and to us, we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
it's
truly.
not so enjoyable for people without this background. So I think we
Yeah.
can leave the food part into the
Another
next
time,
another
huh?
time.
Yeah. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to food anyways.
Yep. So basically today we're gonna talk about just Nanyang music, and I
Yeah.
guess we spoke a lot about it. And I will definitely welcome every one of you to join our upcoming concert on the 12th of February at Esplanade Concert Hall. And at Beautiful Sunday is a free concert. It's at
Yep.
2 p.m. Just go online. You know, we will leave the link
Yep.
in the description, and please just book your ticket online. And I hope to see you in this concert where we will present, you know, what we think about Nanyang music.
Yeah, and
Okay.
y'all can tell us what you think of, like what you think is Nanyang music, and if you've heard anything that's interesting, do let us know because then we can also go and listen, watch, and
Yes,
learn
correct.
something
so
from
we
it.
can research more, right?
Yes.
Oh, then we can deliver more products, more information to you. And also, that day got people win prizes already.
Nobody.
Oh, yeah.
comment,
Why are y'all like
so
that?
sad.
So means our prize is still up for grabs. Okay, so if you comment right now, we'll give you the prizes.
You so hurry, right? Yeah.
I
Nobody
reckon
claim under Indian. Next year Chinese New Year.
Also can.
Okay, so thank you very much for joining, and then
Thank you,
we
thank you.
hope to see you at our Esplanade
Yes.
Concert Hall, and of course catch our next episode. And do subscribe to our channel,
Yes.
like it, and also share with your friends.
Yes.
And
Okay.
with that, I'm Firdaus.
I'm Aditi.
I'm Ting Lun. See you next episode.
Bye.